Hi, it's Tuesday, August 12th, 2014. This is Wes Fryer, and I'm going to create a short video to show you the steps that I'm following to get my newly formatted iPads ready to sync to my laptop. And it may be that I can avoid some of these steps, and if I can, then certainly please give me some feedback as a comment, or you can send me a tweet. But this is the second year that I've had an iPad card here in my STEM classroom, and I have to actually reinstall everything because this summer our IT department went ahead and formatted all of our iPads and installed what's called a mobile manager. And you can install a mobile manager that lets you do things through a web browser, not have to touch the iPad to make all your changes without erasing it. I kind of think they may have done this so that they know every app that we install, and it may have to do with accountability. But whatever the case, I have 19 iPads in my cart, and I've already done this 15 times, so I am going to go a little bit quick. But remember, this is a video, and you can hit pause, and I will try to say everything clearly so that hopefully you'll be able to hear what I'm doing and what menus I'm on, and this will be helpful to you. I've made a little short list. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things basically I want to do. I prefer not to have to touch in each individual iPad when I make a change or an update. And to be clear, I've already used this iPad for the last year, and it was in use 2 years prior. So these were originally purchased in 2011. These are our iPad 2s. We already have an iTunes account set up, and we've purchased apps before, with that account. In addition, I worked with our previous STEM teacher, and we got an email account set up by our IT department. So the entire cart shares a single email account, and that's one of the 9 things that I'm going to be setting up. But basically, I'm going to be organizing my apps, renaming the iPad, installing one app, iEnigma, which is a QR code scanning app, and then putting the iTunes credentials into this iPad. I'm going to be putting on wallpaper for the number, because all my iPads have a different number. I'm going to put a home base or home base website shortcut just on the dock at the bottom for my students to be using, putting in the Gmail credentials, altering the signature file for the email, turning on guided access, and then updating the software. So those are the things that we're going to try and do, and I'm going to try and show that here so that you can take a look. First thing, it asked me for a software update. I don't want to do that yet. I'm going to do that last. And the first thing I'm going to do, this is a brand new formatted iPad without anything changed, is I'm going to basically put all the apps, including settings and the App Store, into a folder called Other. And you do that by holding down your finger on one of the apps so they start to jiggle, and then you can move them around. So I'm going to move this up, and basically I'm just going to put everything in here that I'm not planning on having my students regularly use, which is just about all these apps. There are a bunch of apps that we'll utilize, but most of these built-in ones from Apple we're not going to use. So it's possible with the mobile manager, I think, to go ahead and disable some of these. Like I can disable FaceTime and do those things. It's been a while since I've used the mobile manager, and I haven't had training on it yet. And I'm basically wanting to get these set up for 2 days from now when the students come. So what I've done now is I've left Safari on the dock, I have photos in the camera, and then I have another folder called Other. And so I'll be customizing it from here. I'm going to go ahead and rename the iPad, so I'm going to open up Settings, and this is for iOS 7. This may be a little bit different depending on the version of the iPad that you're using, but if you click the General tab and you click About, that is where you put in the name of the iPad. And I'm going to follow pretty much the same format that our IT department has, which was our initials for our school, IES. But then I'm going to go ahead and put STEM, and then I'm going to put CART, and then I'm going to put the number of the iPad. Now, I use cases on my iPads, and before we had cases, we could see the number that's on the back. This is iPad number 16. And because my cases don't let me actually see through them, they're opaque, I've got to do some other things with the numbering and use wallpaper, which I'll set in a second. But this is IES STEM Cart 16, and so that name is set. What I'm going to do now is go to the App Store, and I'm going to just do a single search for one app. I basically want to put my credentials in here, and I search for iNigma, I-Nigma, and I just put in I-NIG, and it starts to find that. It's going to ask me to install it, and when it says what iTunes account, I'm going to say use my existing ID. So the way we have the iPads at our campus set up is, I'm going to see if I can actually do this. I think I'm going to have to stop talking to be able to remember what this is. I have my own separate email account set up for my iTunes, and this is not my personal account. This is the cart account, basically. All right, and so I go ahead and put that in, and it's going to start downloading that iNigma app to my computer. So while it's doing that, I'm going to open up the Safari browser, and I'm going to go to one website that I'll type in. You certainly don't want to type in very many apps when you are working with students. That's why iNigma, a QR code reader, is so great. But this is an app to my Google site, stem.westfryer.com. And when I open up this web address, I'm going to touch the box with the arrow out of it. That's the share box. And I'm going to choose Add to Home Screen and just rename this STEM. And so what that's going to do when I say Add is it's going to put this bookmark right here that I'm going to move down to my dock. And I'll put iNigma down there as well. Then press the home button so they stop jiggling. So now, whenever my students need to go to a resource for class, they just touch that bookmark, and it will immediately take them to that web link. So that is pretty awesome. What I'm going to do now, though, is go to another website, and this one I'm going to use iNigma for. And so I've already used a little app I like on my iPhone, it works on the iPad too, called QR Beamer, and I've created a QR code for this link. So I can scan this code and then tap Go Online, and it's going to go to a little website that Jenny Majera, who is a teacher in the Chicago area, set up with pictures to serve as wallpapers. So this is her Google site, and I'm going to just pinch in and tap View. And so here's the picture, and anytime you want to use something as your wallpaper, go ahead and hold your finger down and you choose Save Image. So that saves it to the photo roll of this iPad. Now I want to make this the background and the splash screen, or the opening screen, for the iPad. So I'll be able to tell it's iPad 16 because you can't look through this cover. So I'll tap Photos and tap on the picture, and again I'm going to, in the corner, tap on the box with the arrow, and the choice down here at the bottom is Use as Wallpaper. And so now I can pinch and get this set kind of like I want it. It's going to still overlap a little bit. And I'm going to choose Set Both. And what that's going to do when I press my home screen is you can see that that is now the background for my iPad. When I turn my iPad off with the power button on the top, that is my lock screen as well. So that's the way that we tell this is iPad 16 without having to take the cover off. So I'm almost done. I'm going to go back into my settings, and in settings now I'm going to tap on Mail, Contacts, and Calendars, and I'm going to choose Add Account because I'm going to add the Gmail account that our IT department has already set up. We went Google, 5 or 6 years ago in our district, and it's really helpful to have a Google account for your iPad cart. So again, this iPad is IES STEM cart, and this is number 16. And I'll go ahead and put in the email address that is the same address that I use for the entire cart. And what this allows us to do, and allows students to do, is to email content off of the cart in some different apps, and it's really helpful. We don't currently issue out email addresses to students. Now, I have configured this following some instructions that Tony Vincent published a while back, where basically students can't ever check their email. This Gmail account has a filter that immediately trashes email when it's received, so this is functions as a sending-only email account. After I put in my password, I got to choose which Gmail services to turn on. I'm going to turn off Contacts, Calendars, and Notes, and then I'm just going to leave Mail on and choose Save. So now only the Mail account is active on this computer. There's one other thing I'm going to do that's just a nice technique I picked up a while back, and that is to tap Signature. And instead of having the signature file sent from my iPad, I'm going to actually put in here sent from IES STEM cart 16. And so now we use this, for instance, for students to be able to email photos to a free Blogger site, which allows you to post by email. And you can have these photos come in as drafts, and that's a technique that I use early in the year when students haven't set up their kid blog and logged in yet. It's a quick way to have them take pictures and be able to share them. So by having that signature file